Hi everyone, this is Jess from Quilt Beginnings, and I am so excited to be able to teach the Kimberbell Digital Dealer exclusives this year. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do the January design, which is the little bunny hoop, which I just am dying over. The chenille bunny ears, everything's three-dimensional. It's just so cute. So I'm going to take you step by step on how to put this adorable project together. Okay, so let's go over what is included in your kit. First, you'll find all your fabric pieces. You should have 4 white pieces. This is for our bunny ears and the face as well, so you need 4 pieces of that. You'll have 2 pieces of the background fabric, which is the green. And then you'll also have 1 piece of the pink for the bunny ears. All right, so that's all your fabric. You will also receive the bamboo hoops, which are really cute. And then we also are including the stabilizer. And I have the rolls here to show you. These will be pre-cut for you, all ready to go. But let's just go over first what each one is and what it's for, and how you can tell which one is which. So this is fusible backing. It has a bumpy side and then more of a soft fabric side. This actually goes onto the back of your white fabric. Here, I've already adhered it to the back here. This gives it a little bit more stability. So then when I also put it on top, you can't see the green show through. And we use that a lot with the lighter fabrics in order for the integrity of the color not to be changed, okay? That is fusible backing. We've also included a thing of light tearaway, okay? And the way you can tell if it is tearaway is if you just do a little tear on there. If it tears away, if you can do a little bit right there, that's how you know it's tearaway. Feels more like paper. And then you'll also receive some light cutaway. And once again, how you can tell is if you can't rip it, that's how you know it is cutaway. All right? So that's what's included in your kit. This is something I always like to have is my workspace and have everything laid out of what I need and all my threads, all the tools. And I'm going to go through the video and show you the different techniques with these. But you should also have a 4x4 hoop, which is really nice. I think everyone has one of those if they do embroidery. So this is a project that anyone and everyone can do. So I also like to have the printed PDF instructions by me because Kimberbell does a really good job of doing step-by-step instructions with pictures. And it also tells me exactly what machine step I should be on, what instruction step I should be on, and they give you helpful tips to give you the best results. Okay, so I always like to have these nearby. All right. Then you will also need 4 different colors of thread. So today I've chosen a white, black, light pink, and a lime green to coordinate with the fabrics. Okay, so make sure you have those nearby. Make sure your bobbins are full. I keep the bobbins white for this project. Okay, so let's go ahead and hoop our stabilizer and get ready to sew. So the first thing that we're going to do are the chenille ears, okay? So if we come to page 5, okay, we'll see it says step number 1, load the part 1 embroidery file onto the machine, okay? Step 2 is we are going to hoop light mesh cutaway stabilizer, okay? So once again, the cutaway is the one that you can't tear. Okay, so let's go ahead and hoop the stabilizer. Place it in here. And then Screw it tight. All right, we are ready to start sewing. All right, so we've got the stabilizer hooped and we have the hoop in the machine. And the first step that it wants us to do is stitch the bunny ears back placement line. So this is just a placement line. I'm gonna stitch it directly onto the stabilizer. Okay, so now we're gonna take one piece of the white back fabric for the bunny ears and we're gonna place it right side up, completely covering that placement line, okay? So I make sure that my placement line is completely covered and I will go ahead and do the next step to do the tack down line. Okay, so we are on instruction step 5 and it says to stitch the bunny ears back tack down line, which we just did. But notice it says in highlighted in bold, it says do not trim fabric at this time. We are going to go ahead and do the bunny ears back decorative outline. So go ahead and just click the next button on your machine. All right, so we've just finished that decorative outline. Now it wants us to take 2 of the white pieces and place them both right side up. And we're gonna place it right on top to completely cover that line again. We are now going to create the chenille channel lines, okay? So we'll go ahead and just click start again. Okay, so we've finished doing the chenille channel lines. We're gonna go ahead and take this out of the machine and go over to our workstation. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and trim around this line. I'm gonna take out some of my Kimberbell scissors here. And I'm going to be using the flexi snips, which I really like because they have a nice curved edge that I can get around these corners. Okay, what it wants us to go ahead and do is cut only the 2 top layers of the white fabric. Okay, so don't cut the bottom layer quite yet. And we're gonna trim it up to that basting stitch. All right, and now it wants us to cut the basting stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the tweezers here because the nice thing about these tweezers is they have a little blade on the side to easily cut those threads. So what I will do is I'll just come in here and push it and pop those stitches out. All right, so now you should be able to cut between these channels to create this chenille effect. So a tool that I really like to use is the Clover Slash Cutter. It looks like a rotary cutter, but it actually has a cover on the bottom where I am going to actually slide my fabric, slide this under my fabric, and now it is only going to cut the top 2 layers. It won't cut that bottom layer, and I'm just gonna give it a nice cut. And this is how you can easily cut your chenille channels. Okay, so we have cut all the channels in between those stitch lines. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a chenille brush. It looks like a really big toothbrush. I don't recommend using it as a toothbrush. And I use this to help create the chenille look, okay? So all you're gonna do is you're gonna brush your chenille, like you're brushing your teeth. And it's going to fray. That's the look that you wanna go for. And you can see the difference here between the chenille look and before I took the brush to it, okay? All right, we have our chenille bunny ears, but we're not quite done yet. We are gonna go ahead and take our pink fabric And we're going to place it right side down and have it completely cover that line. And I am going to go ahead and put some Kimberbell tape on each end just to hold it in place. All right, and now we're going to go back to our machine and do the final tack down stitch, and then we will be able to cut these bunny ears out and go on to the next part. All right, so we're done stitching out the bunny ears. Now it's time to trim this up and flip them out and then start part 2 of our project. We good? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take this out of the hoop. Okay, so I'm going to use my Karen K. Buckley scissors for this. You want to cut about a 1/4 inch away from that final stitch line. So just kind of eyeball it. Okay, so now we have the bunny ears cut out, and we're going to go ahead and clip the curves about every 1/2 inch close to the stitch line, and this will give a nice rounded look to our bunny ears. All right, so I've clipped around the entire bunny ears about every 1/2 inch to give it a nice curve, and we're going to go ahead and flip these right side out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my R&K turning tool and get those rounded corners nice and crisp. Run it along that seam. And there we have it. We have 2 bunny ears all done, and we're ready to go on to part 2. Okay, now on to part 2. We are going to now hoop our 4x4 hoop with a light tearaway for part 2. Okay, we'll tighten that up. All right, and the first step that it wants us to do is a placement line right on our stabilizer for our background fabric. So let's go to the machine. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to take our green background fabric piece. I did put fusible backing on the back to give it more stability. And now we are going to place this right side up, completely covering that placement line. And I'm going to go ahead and keep my thread white. Okay, so now we're going to take one of our bunny ears, okay, and we're going to put the chenille side down so that the pink is right side up. We are then going to place it on that line and have the edge of our bunny ear come over about a 1/4 inch down, okay? And I'm going to tape this in place, and then I can show it to you up close. All right, so our placement line was about right here, and I have my fabric coming down past it about 1/4 of an inch, okay? So the line is right here, and I'm having the bunny ear come down about 1/4 of an inch, and I tape this in place because now it's gonna do a tack down line right across here. All right, and now we're gonna do the exact same thing for this second ear, okay? All right, so we now have these 2 ears tacked down, and what you're going to do is you're gonna go ahead and cut this bottom part out as close as you can to that stitch line, that tack down line, so then we can start putting the face together, okay? So we need to trim that up, and then we'll come back to do the face. All right, so we have those trimmed up, so it has a nice round edge right there. And we are now going to do the bunny face, and it's gonna do a placement line, all right? Okay, so we're gonna take our last white piece that we have in our kit, and I did put the fusible backing on the back here, so when I place this on top of the green, it doesn't show through the white fabric. And it also gives a little bit more stability, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and place this on top, make sure it covers the entire placement line, and go ahead and do the tack down line. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim up the face here, and then we'll come back to the machine to do the little detail stitches. Okay, I'm gonna use my flexi snips for this one. All right, it's slowly coming together. All right, so let's do the detail face stitches now, okay? Okay, so we are going to change our thread to black because we're gonna do the eyes and the little whiskers. Okay, and you can go ahead and just go to the next step. Okay, so now we are going to do the little nose and mouth, and I'm going to change my thread to pink. Okay, so now we can go ahead and stitch out the nose and mouth. Okay, so now we're going to change our thread back to white because now it is going to do the satin finishing stitch around the bunny face. All right. So now we have finished stitching out the face, and the final step is now just to do a decorative stitch around the outside, the final stitch outline, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a piece of tape and we are going to fold in our bunny ears, making sure that it doesn't go outside of this circle. And we're going to tape it down. And the nice thing is the paper tape tears away really easily, so if you go through it, you stitch through it, it's easy to tear out, okay? But make sure that you don't go outside of that circle, okay? And you can change your thread to green now. Okay, now we're going to do the final stitch outline. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take this out of the machine and go over to our workstation. Okay, so we've taken this out of the hoop now, and we are not going to trim any fabric. We are just going to tear away the excess stabilizer. Okay, so we have the stabilizer removed, and what we're going to do is take our last piece of green fabric and place it on the back to completely cover the ugly part of the project, the back stitches. And that's all we're going to do. You can glue it in place if you'd like to. Then we're going to take our bamboo hoop. We're going to place the smaller part of the hoop underneath and have it center around those stitches. Then you're going to put your little bunny ears through the hoop. And you can loosen this up a little bit more if you need to. And get it in the position that you'd like. Okay, so now we have that in our hoop, and what we need to do is just trim the excess off. Okay. All right, and there we have it. We have it in our hoop, and there's one last thing to do. You will now, the cutest part of it all, you will stitch down your bunny ears however you'd like, or you can glue them, which I will be doing. And there you have it. That is your digital dealer exclusive project for January. So post your pictures, tag Quilt Beginnings, and we'd love to see your finished project, and hopefully you'll make lots more for this upcoming season. All right.